Hello viewers. In this video lecture, I am going to discuss quite a few very important points pertaining to English literature which are likely to be asked in the UGC NET English exam or sets conducted by different state governments or central university PG entrance tests or whatever or whichever English literature exam you might be taking. Here we start. First one. Who published the first folio of Shakespeare's plays? This is the question. Shakespeare's plays were published for the first time under the name First Folio of Shakespeare's Plays. Who was responsible for this? A says Dr. Johnson, B says Ben Jonson, C says John Hemingway and Henry Condell, and D says none of the above. So here the question wants us to give the names of people who were responsible for the publication of Shakespeare's plays. And the right answer is C. John Hemingway and Henry Condell. These two gentlemen were friends to Shakespeare, and after the demise, that is death of Shakespeare, these two people came together and published this plays of Shakespeare under the name First Folio of Shakespeare's Plays. Before this publication of First Folio of Shakespeare's Plays, his plays were available here and there, but they were not authentic. They are known by the name bad quartos. Bad quartos are plays by Shakespeare which were there but which did not have any kind of authenticity. Authenticity came only when John Hemingway and Henry Condell published the first folio of Shakespeare's plays. Next question. What is the original name of George Eliot? We all know George Eliot. What was her original name? It was not her original name. It was a pseudonym. Pseudonym means false name. And the question is asking for the original name of George Eliot. Is it Aphra Behn? Is it Virginia Woolf? Is it Marianne Evans or Jane Eyre? Original name of George Eliot. So you might be knowing that George Eliot was not her original name. It was a pseudonym, that is, it was a false name that she wrote under. And the question is asking us to give her real name. And the options are Aphra Behn, Virginia Woolf, Marianne Evans, and Jane Eyre. And the correct answer is Mary Ann Evans. George Eliot wrote all her novels and got them published under the pseudonym of George Eliot, a male name. Her original name was Mary Ann Evans, or alternatively written as Marianne Evans. She thought that people might not be interested in reading a novel written by a woman, so she got all her novels written under the name of George Eliot, which is a male name. Here we go to the next question. Which was the first novel in the English language? We have hundreds of thousands of novels in English language, and the question is asking us to name the first novel to have been written in the English language. Option A says to the Lighthouse. Option B is Robinson Crusoe. Option C is Joseph Andrews. And option D is Ulysses. First novel in English language. And the answer is Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe, written by Daniel Defoe, was the first novel in English literature. Daniel Defoe was a journalist by profession, and he wrote this particular novel, Robinson Crusoe, about a person, a sailor, who suffers a shipwreck and who lands on an uninhabited island. And what he encounters on this uninhabited island is the story of the novel Robinson Crusoe. It's quite an interesting novel. Next question. In which year was Milton's Areopagitica published? We know Milton. We know his Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained, Comus, Samson Agonistes. Alongside all this, he also wrote Areopagitica, defense of the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression. And the question is asking us to mention the year of publication of this particular pamphlet. Was it 1755, 1623, 1660 or 1644? Think over before we go to the right answer. We will see it in a little while from now. And the right answer is 1644. Areopagitica is a pamphlet written by John Milton in which he advocates the freedom of expression, and it was published in the year 1644. So in exams like UGC NET or sets conducted by different state governments or entrance exams to PG courses of different central universities, the years of publications of some important poems, dramas, novels, pamphlets, essays, and all these things are being asked. Next question. In which year were the Lyrical Ballads published? Option A says 1755, option B says 1789, option C says 1719, and option D says 1798. Lyrical Ballads were published by Wordsworth and Coleridge. Wordsworth and Coleridge were friends. They came together. This was a joint venture, and after having worked together for a couple of years, they came out with the publication of Lyrical Ballads. And the question is, in which year were Lyrical Ballads published? 1755, 1789, 1719, 1798. And the right answer is 1798 is the right answer. Wordsworth and Coleridge published Lyrical Ballads in 1798, and this anthology of Lyrical Ballads started Romanticism in English literature. Literary historians agree that Romanticism in English literature started with the publication of Lyrical Ballads in the year 1798. This particular question is very, very important. Let us move to the next question. What was the original name of the Earl of Surrey? Earl of Surrey is a very, very important literary figure. He, along with Sir Thomas Watt, wrote Total's Miscellany. Now, the question is asking us to mention the real name of Earl of Surrey. Option A says Henry Howard. Option B says Henry Wriothesley. Option C says Sir Thomas Watt. And option D says Henry Sweet. The original name of the important literary figure called Earl of Surrey. And the right answer is, here it is. Henry Howard is the right answer. Henry Howard was the original name of the person who is better known as the Earl of Surrey. It was the Earl of Surrey who introduced blank verse in English. It was Earl of Surrey who introduced the sonnet form, which is better known as Shakespearean sonnet or the English sonnet. He changed the rhyme scheme of the sonnet to AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. He has done remarkable service to the realm of English literature. And his original name was Henry Howard. Next question. In which novel do we come across the character called Man Friday? Let me tell you, in competitive exams, questions are framed on characters as well. English literature has given us wonderful characters, remarkable characters. Man Friday is one among them. And the question is asking us, in which novel we do come across a character called Man Friday? Option A says Pamela. Option B says Joseph Andrews. Option C says Robinson Crusoe. And option D says Sanderson. And the answer to this question is, here it is. Robinson Crusoe is the right answer. Robinson Crusoe is the first novel in English literature. It was written by Daniel Defoe. In this particular novel, we come across a man called Man Friday. This particular name is given by the protagonist, Robinson Crusoe. Just because he is a man, he names him Man, and just because he comes across on a Friday, he calls him Man Friday. Man Friday is therefore a character in the novel Robinson Crusoe. Very important question. Whether you are appearing for UGC NET, different sets, or Central University PG entrance, whatever exam it might be or interview it might be, this particular question is very important. So much so that whenever somebody helps us unexpectedly, we call him Man Friday. Here is our next question. Which among the following is the oldest existent poem in English? Option A says Widower. Option B says Beowulf. Option C says Seafarer. And option D says Piers Plowman. And the question is, the oldest poem which is available to us in English. All these are old poems. Widower, Beowulf, Seafarer, Piers Plowman. All these poems were written in Old English. But the question is asking us to name the oldest one. Of all the poems that we have in English literature, we are asked to name the oldest poem that is there in English. Widower, Beowulf, Seafarer, and Piers Plowman. And the right answer to this question is Beowulf is the right answer. Beowulf is the oldest existent poem that we have in English. It was written sometime in the 10th century. This is again a very important question which has been asked in various competitive exams quite a number of times. So we have to remember Beowulf as the oldest existent poem that we have in English. Beowulf, we pronounce it as Beowulf. It's a wonderful story which the protagonist kills a very dangerous devil. It is written in Old English. Here is our next question. In whose novels does fate or chance play a very crucial role? A. Charles Dickens, B. Richardson, C. Jane Austen, D. Thomas Hardy. All these people have written wonderful novels. Charles Dickens, Richardson, Jane Austen, Thomas Hardy. All these are very noted English novelists. And the question is asking, in whose novels does fate or chance play a very crucial role, very important role? And the answer is, Thomas Hardy is the right answer. In Tess of D'Urbervilliers or Mayor of Casterbridge or whichever novel of Thomas Hardy it is chance or fate that plays a very important role. Thomas Hardy was a pessimist. He was pessimist to the core. He depicts God, fate, or destiny as something which is out there to torment and trouble the human beings. In Tess of D'Urbervilliers, he ends the novel by saying, Tess is now dead, and the president of immortals ended his sport. That is to say that God has been playing a game with the human beings. Which novel is subtitled Story of a Man of Character? A. Mayor of Casterbridge, B. Portrait of the Artist, C. Vicar of the Wakefield, D. The Mystery of Edwin Drood. Novels have subtitles, and here we are asked about the novel whose subtitle is Story of a Man of Character. Option A is Mayor of Casterbridge. Option B is Portrait of the Artist. Option C is Vicar of the Wakefield. And option D is The Mystery of Edwin Drood. The answer to this question is Mayor of Casterbridge. Mayor of Casterbridge is subtitled Story of a Man of Character. Mayor of Casterbridge is a novel by Thomas Hardy. The protagonist is a hairdresser, grass cutter. He gets drunk and in the inebriated condition he sells off his wife Susan and daughter Elizabeth Jane to a sailor called Newson. After that he repents and stops drinking for 21 years. It's a very interesting novel, very important novel, and quite a number of questions are asked again and again from this particular novel. Thank you for watching. Keep watching Ahmed School of English for inputs regarding English literature. All my videos are going to help you crack the UGC NET exam, sets conducted by various state governments, entrance tests conducted by central universities, and other competitive exams on English literature. Thank you.